Welcome back. This video is going to be the last video for this tutorial series. So let me take this opportunity to thank you up to this far. Alright, so what we're going to tackle is we're going to go through the application, and where we have some bugs, then we're going to fix it. So at the end of this video, you can take this project and modify it to suit your need. Alright, so let's get started. The first thing I want to implement is that when I register, so let's try to register right now with a new account. Any dummy account is okay. Register, and you can see that it has pushed me to it has pushed me to the home page. So I want to, so let's go to register, slices, right? A component, yes. So and the users and the register. So as soon as I register, you see that we are implementing the redirect here. So I want to push the user to the profile page, right? But sorry, the login page. But the problem is that, let me show you one thing. So let's log out here. Let's sign up with a new account with different email address. And as you can see that it has pushed me to profile. So it means that it didn't take me to the login page. The problem is that on login page, we say that if there is user of property in the store, then we should push to profile page. This is a login page. Let me show you here. You see that we're also checking for user of. So as soon as we registered, we have user of property on it. So as soon as you go to login page says that, hey, if there is a property called user of on it, then push to profile page. Yes, but the problem is that on the user of, right, we don't have the actual token yet on that. So we can implement such a way that as soon as the user is registered, then you can log in the user automatically. But I just want to have two steps: register and then you go to login page. So because of that, we are not going to base on this user of again when the user is registered. But when the user is logged in, we have this user of property. So let's check our store. It says that when a user is registered, look at the action that comes. You see that we don't have the token field on it, right? So I'm not going to base on the user of here when a user is registered. So when a user is registered, I don't want to add this property. I just want to add a different property like it's registered. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's go to slices, redux, and then users and user slices, and let's locate where we are handling the registration action here for field. So here I'm going to replace this one state.is registered, and I'm going to base on that is registered, and I will say it's equal to true. Yes, that is it. So now I'm going to base on this one is registered inside my register component. Now I'm not going to base on the user of again, because as soon as I registered, I don't have the user of. So I've changed it to is registered and it's registered. So with this, you're good to go. So now let's log out and let's refresh the application, and let's go to sign up, register, and check it out. What we have, let's add some dummy text here, some dummy email addresses here, and register. And now you see that it has sent me to sorry, my login page, and when I log in, it takes me to profile page. Perfect. So that one is done. So next step is that let's go to expenses list. There we go. Let's go to expenses list. We have the right title. Income list. Income list, we see have this recent in expenses transaction. So let's go back and fix it. So let's locate the income and income list component. Yes, and this is where the error is from. The title, recent income. So change it to income. Okay, cool. And then change this one to the income. Alright, so that one is done. Let's check it out and see if it's solved. Yes. Alright, the next thing is that for expenses splits, you see that we don't have the date here. So this one looks a little weird for me, because when you create a new expense, let me show you. Let's create new expense, some dummy text, and then some amount. Great. You see that it has been created, but there is no date here. If you check our def extension 2, we see that expense is created. Let's look at the payload that we go from the back end. You see that there's no property called created at, you see, but so it means that our back end, there's something wrong with our back end implementation of the model. So let's go back to back end and then let's see the model for the income and expense. So let's locate model and let's locate income. I don't know why, even though I have provided a timestamp, okay, that it should give me the date automatically, but one way or the other it's not working. So let's do it manually. So if yours is working, then you're good to go. So let's add one more property called created at, okay, property to it, and this one gonna be type of date, okay, and let's give it a default value of new date, okay, or date.now. Okay, let's try. So now let's go ahead and create income. Let's do the same thing for expense. So let's go to the expense model. Like I said, even though we have the timestamp, but it's not working here. So let's add one last property to it. Maybe if yours is working, then it's fine. So now that I've made changes to my model, I have to restart my server. All right, and then let's try it out and create one more expense and see that I'm going to have that date property called created at on it. So let's check it out. Moment of truth. So it's loading because I have restarted my server. Okay, so now it's back. And let's create one more, some dummy text here and some amount. Now you see that it's back again because I added that property to it. So the same thing applies to expenses. It's also working. So it's fixed, right? I'm happy to see that. All right. So the next one is let's go to income list. When I click on this pencil icon, this one appears. But on the profile for the individual ones, when I click on this one, you see that it doesn't come. It doesn't push me to the expenses list to update. So let's also fix that. So on the profile, we're going to work on the profile, both expenses. When I click on this pencil icon, I want to render like when I go to all expenses and I click on that. So let's locate where we are rendering the individuals. So I think the component, now the server is done. Let's go to the client, SRC, components, and these are content details. I want to see how we did a redirect. Okay, you see that we should put out to path name, so we can copy this functionality here. And what you need to do is that let's go to the users. Now for the users, we have a component that renders all the user content details. You see that this renders both the expenses and income details, so we can, this is where the button is located, right? So let's click on that, and we see that here I didn't provide anything here. We see that maybe you guys saw it. So let's replace this one with this, the one we copied. And now we have the items here, and we are sending to the item page and edit page. Perfect. So now we fix that. So let's try it out. And it says that history is not defined. So let's bring in this use history component from React router DOM, and let's say from React router DOM, and let's bring use history, and let's create instance of use history here. Const history is equal to use history. So let's try. Now let's go to both the profile page. When I go to history, view more expenses for this particular user, and now there you go. The same thing applies to income. I click on it, there you go. All right, so what has left is that on the dashboard, right? On the dashboard, when there is no, I'll come back to that. So the next thing is that for the edit, when we click on this button here, we need to update, after that we need to redirect the user. So the same way we did for the income, right? So see that as soon as I create income, it's what? Wait, text here. Then it redirects us to this page. So I can give this one to as a challenge for the update. So if you're not familiar with it, you can watch the tutorial series on how we do the redirect of the profile. Okay, sorry, of the account when a user is, on a new account or a new, income is created. So let me give you the hint, right? So if you go to the slices, user slices, and slices here, let's go to expenses and expenses slices. You see that first of all, we created a new action, and then when the user is created it, we dispatch it here. Then we're going to handle it inside that. Then in the component, all what you need is that you need to pull out the property used on it to make the redirect. So this one to you as a challenge. All right. So the last thing is that what should I tackle it? Okay. So now let's look at, okay, let's go to profile and see what happened. Okay, everything's correct. Now the same thing applies to the profile. Okay, so now because for the profile page we will only update once, so the update, so the redirect will be pretty easy to do. So the same thing I did for the user registration. When user is registered, push the user to the profile page, so login page. So for the edit, going to be the same thing. So let's go to users. For this one, I'll do for you. So let's go to users, and where we are doing the update, right? So the way we are redirecting the user here is pretty easy for this one-time edit, right? So here states dot is edited. Okay, it's equal to true. Cool. So here we're going to base on this one. So let's go to the profile page. Okay, so update profile, user update profile here, and here we can grab, here I'm not checking the errors, so let's replace this one with this one. Okay, so here we can check for errors. Sorry, so let's bring in loading component. I'm not sure the auto import is working. So the loading component, I'm not sure unless you go back and have the trick the way we do for it. And so let's go to the component. We have loading component, save it, and error display component, and save it. So let's go to updates profile here, and first of all let's require this. There we go. And let's require the error display component. There we go. All right, so here I'm going to check. So we have the history, we have the redirect here. So lastly, let's redirect using this use effect. Okay, so here before we even redirect, let's check. Let's say that redirect here. So use effect. All right, use effect here. Then let's bring in the dependence, the callback, and the dependencies like that. So here, if there is edited, meaning that there's property on the edited, then we can quickly, let's use one tool called is edited, and then dependencies are the dispatch. Okay, so if it's edited, then what you can do is, if you can do it one line of code, you can say history.push, then you send the user back to the profile. Okay, perfect. But if you want to edit again, unless you refresh, that's why you're using this simple way of the redirecting. Okay, cool. So next thing is, let's check for errors and other stuffs, right? So what you can do is that here, where can we check the error? The form is there, or we can place everything here, or we can, or better still, we can do this one here also, because this one is not that much. So what we can do is let's uncomment this one for loading. Okay, let's check for loading. So loading will be on the button. Sorry, now remember the button here. So now we need the disable button too. Yeah, sorry, the disable button. So let's go to components, and then when it's loading, where is my disable button? Yes, save it, and then let's go to the update profile, redirect for this one, disable button. Yeah, okay. So let's scroll down, and then here let's check, cut it, and then let's check if it's loading. Sorry, if it's loading, is it user loading or what? I forgot the user loading. That's what I used. You can make it loading. If user loading, then let's bring in disable button. Otherwise, let's display our own button here. Okay, cool. So what about the error? Right. So the error here, we can cut everything from here. Okay. And let's check for error. So let's check here. You can see that if there is app error or server error, then this time around and operator, right? And then we paste. So there's only, if there's only error, oh sorry, if there is, let me pass, sorry, if there's error, then we pass into the error display component. Then in between the children here, we say that server error, and then here going to be the app error. All right. With server error or user server error? Oh, is user server error, user app error, and user server error. Okay, so if here user app error, I don't know why I chose this name, and then user server error. So I can just make it error, server error, or app error. So here going to be user server error. So you can change this one, user server error, and then here let's inject the user app error. Okay, so otherwise let's paste what we copied. Okay, so now there we go, we have it. So let's refresh it if there's any errors. Okay, cool. Now that one is working. So let's go to edit profile. When I click on that, you see that brings me back. But if I want to edit again, it will not, because I already have it edited. So once I refresh again and then click on that and edit again, right? So like I said, we can go through the advanced way of redirect, but for this one, this is the basic way we can do that. The advanced way is when we did this one, when new income is created, right? So the last thing is about the profile. You're not displaying any errors in case the user logs in and then there's no account here. So let's go to the profile page, and then we are done for this video. So for the profile, we are also we are getting this one, but we're not using them. So here, let's also cut everything from here and say that if it's loading, when user is coming to this page and it's loading, then we need to render loading. So loading components. Loading, do you have loading component? I'm not sure. So loading, oh, let's bring it here. Bring it there, and we have the error display component. Okay, we have all of them being added successfully for us, and this is where we have it. Okay, these two. Okay, so now let's check if it's loading, right? Then we can display the loading component, right? Otherwise, if there is app error or server error, all right, if there is one, then we can display the error display message component, and then in between these components, we want to inject the server error property and both the app error property as that. And if there is no error, then we can go ahead and then render this component. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, so now our application is complete. So now I can go to create new account, new description here, some text, some text here. Okay, good to go. I can now come here, click on this one, I can edit it, and I'm good to go. Alright, so guys, here ends the tutorial series on MERN Stack Expenses project.